What's going on, guys? Chris here with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to an install video. Today we're installing the crankcase cover from DBK, and then the alternator stator cover also from DBK, and then the last thing we're going to do is slap these guys' rear sets on. Really excited to have these and see how they feel. We're in my makeshift garage here in my living room, so let's stay cool and get this done. All right, guys. Yes, I'm wearing this ridiculous thing for you all. Yes, this is a chest mount, so that way you can see what I see when we go and look at the bolts and all that good stuff. It's also a utility belt because there's the mic. Look at that. This thing's just multi-use. So we're gonna use a 360 as we go into everything, so that way we can see all that's going on. But the first thing we're gonna do, they call us the crankcase cover, but really we all know this is the clutch basket right here. So we're gonna take this off. In order to do that, we need to take this whole fairing off, and I've never done that before. I think these bolts and the two under here should come off. I'm not sure if we'll need to take this piece off here. We'll see as we get into it, but these are a 3 mil, a 4 mil, and a 4 mil, so let's go do that. Well, I guess that answers that question. It just kind of pops off, which is rather nice. Ducati's made taking these panels off so much easier. So let's get these bottom two bolts out. Again, they're a 4 mil, really easy. There we go. Just that easy. So we're taking these off first, again, because not only are we replacing this, but we're going to do the rear sets. In order to get to the rear sets, you kind of need the space anyway, so I figured we'll just keep going with it, but wildly easy. Now, while this part's really easy to install, something that Ducati Bike does is they give you a little tutorial or instructions on how to actually install it. So if you were to go to their website and you look at, like, okay, there's the clutch cover, and let's say we go to that, and you go down to attached documents and instructions, you'll see how to actually install this, and it's really easy. I mean, it's only 3 bolts and it tells you 8 Newton meters of torque, so that is all of a nice snug. So if you really want to get a torque wrench out and do 8 Newton meters, by all means, but we're going to snug it down a little bit and probably put a little bit of blue Loctite. We'll see. You set up here, you see how this sits on there. Pretty simple, 3 bolts. These are a T30, really easy to take out, and that broke loose rather easily, so I am going to venture to guess there are no Loctite on this. Looking at the bolt, no Loctite, so we are not going to put any on there. As from the factory, didn't come with them, so we don't do what the factory doesn't do. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, installed. Really easy. Let's hop to the other side. All right, as we hop to the other side, we'll see that there's even fewer bolts to take off. There's not even this plastic piece here. Doesn't even have a bolt you'll need to remove. It doesn't look like. So we got a 4 and 2 3s there, and it should pop out because we took the other 2 4 mils that were on the bottom because they connected both sides together. So let's take it apart. Right back there. Sneaky. Keep that in mind when you put this back together. There is a hidden bolt way back there. The other side is done. Easy. So again, you have two 4mm for this little cover here, and then two T30s to take off down here, and then that cover can go on. So let's take these screws off. And of course, if you actually read the instructions from DBK, they'll let you know that you need to retain or remove the extra screw adapters that are in there. These right here are a 10mm, and just unscrew them with 10mm. They do look like they have a little bit of thread lock on there, so I might put some red on the screws that I put into these particular holes, and then you just need to clip the zip tie that's right here. Pretty simple, just an extra step if you have a 25. And this is like 8 Newton meters, if that. So as you saw when we took them off, they weren't in there quite ridiculously hard, so I'm not too overly concerned. And again, these last two, I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on there because the bolts that went into that block there seemed like they had them. So they're on there for a reason. So again, manufacturer does it, we do it. Get these nice and snugged up. Oh, as I'm looking at the ground. Boom. And nice. And snug. Okay, so I'm going to get a pair of little wire snippers and cut that little zip tie off, and then probably re-zip tie it if need be. Anyways, there it is, installed. We'll put this, well, those are installed, but now we got to do the rear sets. So next thing. So before we install this guy right here, these Gilles, whatever you're gonna call them, rear sets. So we're gonna look at these two pieces right here. You'll look, the top is for standard shift, the bottom is for GP shift. So it's pretty cool. If I want to change them, all I gotta do is swap them around. While I do the break-in, I'm going to keep it in standard. Once I finish the break-in, I'm going to swap it over to GP shift. It's just something I like to do. But to get these rear sets off, I'm going to remove the bolt down here, and that's going to allow me to actually move this whole assembly out, so I can remove both the shifting link here and then the actual piece. So let's get those undone. It is a 5mm. Using the supplied screw that comes with the kit here is a T30. So all of their bolts are Torx bolts. So if you need to get a full set of Torx, I would highly recommend it, because a lot of parts, whether Ducati or whatnot, they tend to mix and match hex and Torx. So this is a T30. Again, we're going to put some thread locker on it. It says use medium. We're going to use blue. Here we go. Got 20. There's 20. Let's try this again, and beautiful. All right, 20 Newton meters, and there we go. Rear sets on the left side are on. Let's go hop to the other side. So as you imagine, the rear set for the brake side is a good bit more involved. Obviously we have this whole heat shield, we have the brake itself and the spring to deal with. And so there's a lot going on. The first thing we're going to do is kind of come around back here, because naturally there's a bolt back here. We're just going to unscrew that bad boy, because we'll more than likely forget at some point or another. And we're going to drop that down into the engine or the exhaust, so we'll have to grab that, so be aware. The next thing we're going to do is take off this little piece here. As you hear my Rottweiler losing his shit, he's probably sees an animal on TV, losing his damn mind. Remove that and that. All right. Now, there we go. And voila, the cover's off. So, we're going to want to take these bolts off, obviously there. And yeah, let's get those next. So, the little screw that I showed you that was right here was a T-freaking-9 little guy. Like, you needed one of these to freaking work. So, that's kind of crazy. All right. Now, there's 2 bolts holding this shield on to the actual rear set, and they are both 4mm hex. Go ahead and remove those. I believe we're going to keep those for later. Pop you there. Being careful to not manipulate the brake lines here too much, because they are just kind of dangling, and also have the O2 sensor wires right there, so don't want to jiggle them around too bad and make them. Nope, that's tightened. Guess I should have broke this loose while on the bike. Might have to do that. Right. Oh, tighten. Right the first time. There we go. Okay. Break that bolt loose. It's quite literally the only thing I think of is remove this pivot bolt here, and there we go. We got the piece out of there. Now we have to set this guy onto it like so. Then, looking at the photo, the beveled edge that's there goes down on top of said spring. Make sure they go in nice and clean like. And he's sitting there, seating there. There we go, okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't want to try to ratchet it like this until you actually get a few threads going on it. You really want to make sure you're, again, these are 10 Newton meters. Yeah, okay. Make sure that's good to go. Make sure I'm not messing up that harness there. Does not look as though I am. There we go. Now, the rear master cylinder is plumbed and plugged in here to the rear set. The next thing I imagine I need to do is screw in these 2 bolts here to the back, and then I'll probably have to put that little cover piece back on at some point. Now this is screw going in the plastic, so it's a little hard, but that's not a problem. Okay, so next, reattach the back bolts. Yeah, reattach the back bolts. to the fairing, to the pieces there. Use the original, it's 2 original bolts that went in there. A lift would be so awesome right now. It would be so good. There. Make sure I'm not doing anything crazy. You're not. Alright, next. Grab you. Come on. No, like doing these things blind and upside down, you know what I mean? It's like any of you has ever worked in a car and had to go under a dash for anything. It is one of the harder things to do. Keep you in that line right there. All right, we're good. There we go. The stock master cylinder is on. Now, toss in a few of these. Screw those on. Another one of these. Remember, they don't need Loctite apparently. Find that a little odd, but hey, like I said, do what the manufacturers do. Tell you what, I quite like Torx better, or click style. Torque wrenches better, because this will allow you to go over. The torque style won't, or the click style won't. There we go. Got that back on. All right, so last little bit, we just got to put this nice carbon piece on. It's gonna sit right there. The only weird thing is there's this little hole that's just got nothing to do with nothing. So it's kind of strange, but yeah, well, it is what it is. But really easy. It doesn't say to put any Loctite on this stuff, on this particular one, but I'm just gonna douse it because it's in a high vibration place, and last thing I want is this cool carbon fiber heel guard to come off. I'm gonna tighten that down, tighten that down, tighten that down. Tighten it down. There we go. Rear sets installed. I checked the brake already. The light works, and I did roll it and then push it, so the brake works as advertised. It doesn't feel like it's dragging. So yeah, always check your brakes to make sure they're not, sticking or anything. I tell you what, this feels much tighter than the other one. So we'll see how much I like that or not. We may need to adjust some stuff, but overall, not a terrible install. There's some little nuances with this piece that's kind of odd, but it's not that bad. The other side's very straightforward. And like I said, once I break in everything, we'll be able to swap it and put it in GP shift. But yeah, so we're just gonna slap these panels back on and we'll be done. All right, guys, I'm gonna apologize for the audio here. I'm just using the X5, but see that little lock nut? And then where the spring is, there's another little kind of a nut on the bottom of that you can adjust. And that's actually what I needed to spin to get the free play, and the stuff I wanted is not tightened down anymore, but to get this to feel like it should and to release the rear wheel here and spin freely, because it was definitely dragging. So if you get these, you'll need to adjust that. And then there's a little metal piece right there that I had to spin around and almost not use at all. Like there's just a little bit touching this arm, so that way the return goes up. Because my problem was I would hit the brake and it would stay down and wouldn't return. So adjusting that, tighten the spring up, just kind of play around with it. I can't tell you how many turns, is just whatever end up working. And yeah, we're good to go. So we'll button this up and get on to the next thing. All right, guys, there we have it. We have the DBK covers installed and the Gilles rear sets also installed, as I pointed out in my video, I had to make some changes to the actual plunger and adjust that and make the rear brake feel good. So overall, it's a really easy install. Basic tools, Torx adapter pieces, make sure you have all of those, and then hex as well. And there you go. Really not that hard. Looks fantastic. I'll check out the other side here. Yeah, I think these look great, and I think they're going to function, you know, just as well. We'll play around with this, especially when we go to the track, to see how we want to set up the rear sets. That's really cool about the Gilles is this just adapter piece. You can really rotate and hone in where you want your feet to set. So there we have it. Next video we're going to do is the master cylinder. And yeah. So if y'all like this video, please give a thumbs up. Like this content, subscribe, because there's obviously more installs coming. And with that, y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on the next video.